Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai, and welcome to Jagadambe Reads the Holy Books of India, ShrimadBhagavatam417. Except, even after 1,400 successful videos on the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and the ShrimadBhagavatam, YouTube will not accept my titles. So for the last two readings, they were just delineated by the date. Rather than try to figure out what went wrong, how to make it right, I've decided to just change the format I'm using. So I'm only going to read one a day for the rest of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's going to be a little longer than 5 minutes. It's going to be around 12 minutes. And this way, we can accommodate the new thing. I hope you stay with me for this beautiful end of most significant work. Thank you for being here all this time. Now, back to 417. As you may remember, Vrika the Asura asked Mahadev to grant him the ability to kill somebody by putting his hand on his enemy's head. So Mahadev gave him that ability, and then Lord Narayana had to come and make it all right again, because that wasn't really right. So Lord Narayana appeared before Vrika as a young boy to insult and diminish the power of Shiva. And Vrika said, well, I heard about Lord Shiva from Narada, and he can't tell any lies. Narayana said, I do not know about that, but Daksha himself, who was a Prajapati, did not honor Mahadev. We do not have much faith in him. Do you know why he ran away from you? It is not because he is afraid. It's because he does not want you to find out that his boon is false. Vrika stood with a perplexed look on his face. Narayana said, all right then, listen to me. Just try and see if his words are true. Place your hand on your head and see. I can assure you nothing is going to happen. We will then go together and look for him and take him to task as to why he did this to you. So charmed was Vrika by the words and the voice of the young boy that he lost his power of thinking. Before he knew what he was doing, he placed his hand on his own head. The next moment, his head split into two, and he fell down lifeless. The sky was filled with the jubilant cries of the devas. Narayana then went to Mahadev and said, this sinner was destroyed because of his many sins. A person who insults good people will come to no good. When such is the case, need I say anything about one who has offended you? Now, 265 is a chapter I will not read, and that's because it's a comparison of three deities, and I don't believe that saints or deities should be compared. So we'll go right on to 266, Arjuna's Oath. There was once a Brahmin in Dwarka who was singularly unfortunate. His son died the moment it was born. The Brahmin was very unhappy, and so clouded did it become his mind because of this misfortune that he began to blame the king for it. He brought the dead form of his child to the palace and placed it on the doorstep. He then said, my son is dead because the ruler of this country is a sinner. He must be a hater of us Brahmins, a man with a mind which cheats others, a miser who is ever lost in the pleasures of the world. Such a blot on the name of Kshatriya is ruling this kingdom, and that's why this has happened to me. He would not stop there. He said, "We are the subjects of a king who enjoys hurting others, whose character is not good, who is not able to keep his senses under perfect control." A second child was born to him, which also died in the same manner. And again the Brahmin went on with his tirade against the ruler. This happened 9 times. 9 of his sons died as soon as they were born, and it was painful for all. When his 9th child died, he went at the doorstep with the child in his arms and the tirade on his lips. Arjuna, the Pandava, happened to be in Dwarka. He heard the words of the Brahmin, and he said, "Oh, Brahmin, is there no archer in the place where you live? Is there no kshatriya to protect you? Why do you weep incessantly and unnecessarily? The Yadavas are here, and they are evidently more fitted to be Brahmins and perform yagnas. The country where a Brahmin loses his wife, his child, or his wealth, and is unhappy because of that, is not ruled by a kshatriya. The ruler is like an actor who wears the dress of a king, but is in reality not a kshatriya. The very word means one who saves the suffering, and it is up to us to live up to the name. I will now protect your child. I promise to do so. If I fail to keep my word, I will then enter the fire and wash away my sins." The Brahmin, chastened to some extent, said, "This is Dwarka, where great men live, great heroes like Balarama, Krishna, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, not to mention Satyaki, Kritavarma, and many others. All of them have not been able to do anything for me. How can you succeed where they have failed? You are foolishly obstinate. I have no faith in your words." Arjuna said, "I am not Balarama, I grant you that. Nor am I Krishna, nor his son Pradyumna, nor Aniruddha, his son. But I am Arjuna the Pandava, and I have faith with me in the bow Gandiva, which is famed the world over. I am also a famous archer. Please do not belittle my prowess, with which I have pleased even my Lord Mahadev. I will fight with Yama and get your child back for you. I promise you I will do it." After so much talk, the Brahmin thought that he could have faith in the words of Arjuna. He went home with a happy heart. When the time came for his wife to deliver her child, the Brahmin became worried, and he went to Arjuna and said, "Please come and protect my child. Save him from death, as you promised to." Arjuna did achamana with pure water, and with great humility he worshipped Lord Mahadev. He then took up his Gandiva and went with the Brahmin. He went to the room where the woman was laid to bed, and with his astras he built a cage around the room. A few moments later was heard the cry of a newborn baby. The next moment the child rose up into the sky and vanished from their sight. The Brahmin was so angry with Arjuna that even his grief was forgotten. He said, "I should never have placed my faith in the words of a coward and a braggart. Where Pradyumna failed, where Aniruddha could not succeed, where even Balarama and Krishna were not able to do anything, how could this Arjuna be successful? Stupid fool that I was, I placed so much faith in this Arjuna who has spoken a lie." While the Brahmin went on cursing himself, Arjuna carried his weapons, and with the power of his Yogamaya, he went to Samyamani, which was the home of Yama. He could not find the child there. He went to the homes of the Devas who guard the 8 quarters, and found that the child was not with any one of them. He was now sure that the child could not be brought back to life. He came back to Dwarka and built a fire into which he wanted to fall and kill himself, since he had failed to keep his promise to the Brahmin. Krishna stopped him, and with proper reasons convinced him that this self-immolation was unnecessary. He told him in secret, I will show you the sons of this Brahmin. Never insult or blame yourself. This man who has been cursing me for so long will soon praise us very profusely. Krishna took Arjuna in his chariot and went toward the west. They crossed the 7 islands and the 7 seas. After a long travel, they reached a very dark region. The 4 horses of Krishna could not see what was in front of them, and they could not pull the chariot. Krishna threw his chakra into the darkness, and when it began to glow like the sun, the horses proceeded forward. The brightness of the chakra, by name Sudarshana, was too much for the eyes of Arjuna, and he closed them. When he opened his eyes, he saw the ocean, and they were entering the waters. They traveled in the midst of the waves, and under the sea, Arjuna saw a city, and there was a mansion in that city. The city was called Mahakalapura. There Krishna showed him the fabulous serpent by name Adishesha. It was an immense serpent with 1,000 heads, and the jewels on its heads were like so many suns. His eyes were red, and they darted on all sides with flames rising out of them. He was as large as a mountain of silver, and his neck and tongue were black. It was a sight fascinating enough to hold Arjuna spellbound. He raised his eyes, reclining on the soft bed which Adishesha made for him, was the Lord of Lords, Narayana, and Arjuna saw him. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you for coming. I hope you come again.